Bylaw number 10, 2016, being a bylaw to regulate the fortification of land and protective elements applied to land and to prohibit excessive fortification of land and excessive protective elements being applied to land within the township of North Huron. And this read a first and second time. Count?
Do I have to make that motion first? I have a question.
Can I have mover and seconder and then we'll...
Okay, also move.
Okay, and Councillor Wyden seconds. Go ahead, Bill.
When we looked at this before and deferred it, I'd asked that we have some legal review of this, and Chief Sparling indicated that he thought Howick, who he drew this, I believe, was from Howick Township, had done that. I have yet to see that. I haven't seen it.
At the conclusion of that, I indicated that this would probably fall more under building official standards. So that was deferred to him, and he got the list of questions that council had. I understand some councillors came in personally and saw him about those issues. But the questions council did have were addressed, including the lawyer. So.
Good evening. I can help you up there.
Fire away.
Most of the time, legal opinions are something the municipality paid for. Okay, they're not going to hand those out. I mean, I don't think we hand out our, I guess what you refer to as our personal documents, just ad hoc to people, and they're not going to do it either. So, on the upside to that, again, I'm from the artist involved with, I guess, the groundwork for this particular bylaw. When I was working in Minto, there was a number of municipalities, well, the whole Wellington County was involved in the review, the implementation of this bylaw, and the legal review of this bylaw. Okay. OPP were involved, all the building officials were involved, and fire, everyone's even had some input into this. So it was looked at, torn apart. Other municipalities, their bylaws were looked at. Some of them are very lengthy and thick, and I find most of the time you just get into, causes. Sometimes the bigger the legal document, the more problems it causes. Okay, this is pretty straightforward and simple. And if you read it in its entirety, okay, and then go back and take where the exemptions are and what the laws or the bylaw is referring to, I can probably say there's not a person in this room that will ever have to have anything to do with this bylaw. Okay, it specifically, there's one paragraph in here that tells you that this particular bylaw deals with somebody or group of somebodies who is trying, okay, to prevent emergency services, whether it be police, fire, or ambulance, from entering a premises undetected or without them having a chance to either fend them off or to dispose of whatever legal activities they're doing. So, and that's long and short. That's what the whole document is about. So anybody who's doing anything legal on their property, okay, whether it's climbing up to the top of their silo and taking pictures or making videos because that's what they like to do, or if they have a property that they feel is, on the outskirts of town, maybe it's not particularly well lit, maybe a little vulnerable for some reason, is it going to stop them from barring the windows or doing something to protect their property? No. Okay, comes back to intent. Most law comes back to that, right? Is there a criminal intent there? No, there's not. Okay, the intent of the bylaw is to take a look at this municipality, protect the citizens, protect the MS guys from having to deal with fortified premises. And unfortunately, we can't tell you everything we see on every property when we're out there every day for a number of reasons, but even in this municipality, there's people who would okay, do things like, you know, put heavy steel doors on, you know, electrify those doors, do whatever to keep people out, okay? That's what this is aimed at preventing, okay? So, hopefully that clears up some of that for you. I've discussed it with the police locally, and other than that, any questions?
Councillor Syke.
So Tim, I have a question that, like, if this is to do with illegal activity, potentially, I have a problem with the fact that if they're willing to break federal law and provincial law, why do they care what bylaw the Township of North Huron puts in? Like, why would a person care? So
It's not, you can't make people care, okay? So.
But what's the enforcement then? The problem is, that's my problem.
The enforcement is, okay, when these buildings are left over, okay, it doesn't matter, and we're gonna be coming forward with other bylaws to deal with these type of things, okay? When these buildings are left over that have been fortified, okay, if you don't have any enforcement for people doing stuff like that, you know they've done it, okay? You know, it's obvious, okay? So when they go in, we just had one a little while ago get, East Wawanosh in this area, okay, there's stuff done there, okay? Could we have charged them? Yes, okay? So the Provincial Offences Act has made fines fairly substantial now, okay? I mean, there's thousands of dollars, right? So if we lay a charge and we get a conviction, and there's 5 or 6 people, say, just for example, running a, you know, it's legal grow up or it's a meth lab or whatever, right? If they're doing that type of thing and you charge them all, right? And say you get a $6,000 fine on each one, 75% of that comes back to the municipality to help pay for the cost of remediating that property, because it's going to be in all bar power, right? Like, we got to fix that, right? You just can't turn around and say, well, I'm not going to do nothing with that property, right? Okay. You know, there's going to be things there that fall under property standards that you have an obligation as a municipality to take care of. The money's got to come from somewhere.
So to follow up with that, is it in your perspective that you believe that we would get that money? Like, anybody can fine anybody. It's whether you actually can get the jingle to actually establish.
Well, that would be true of any law. So what do? Not have any laws in that chaos? No, you can't do that. Okay, and I don't think that's what you intend. But
that's not my intention.
But that's where it goes, right? Okay, you just can't stand back and do nothing. Okay, and you know, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Okay, we have a few things going on here in this municipality now where, you know, it's taking us time, right? Based on following the procedure, following the law. Will we get our money? Yeah, okay, eventually, right? But you got to follow the process, right? But if you don't have a process in place, you got nowhere to go, right? You're just going to stand there and have properties. Could be in town here, could be out in the country, but it could be in town here, right? And now you've got a property that needs to be, you know, remediated because, you know, let's take a case like in Hamilton where, you know, they're making chemicals or there's meth or whatever in the apartment. They resell that place or they release it and nobody's gone in and remediated that place. And the poor little kid that you put in the bathtub has to soak all those chemicals in before somebody realizes, hey, you know what? We should have done something with that before it was turned back over to the general public, right? Well, it's the same thing with any house in this municipality that's been used for that type of reason, right? You gotta take care of it. You just can't put people at risk and let it go, okay? They do all kinds of things to these properties, right? Okay? They bar them up for a reason. They don't like to see that they've, you know, punched holes in walls and, you know, they're stealing hydro and they're doing this and they're doing that, right? So, yeah, I mean, you know, you have to start somewhere, you know, and, you know, hopefully, you know, you don't have to, you know, rely on this, right? But, you know, it's just a tool and something else to, you know, help deter people. That's all, okay? And you may get on it before they get to that point, right? Okay? Somebody comes along, I mean, without going into how people build cases, I mean, if you're, as a police officer, you're sitting on a place and you're watching traffic come and go, and you know the people that own the place have been busted like 4 or 5 times before for traffic, say, right? Well, now you got your traffic flow and you know that's going on. Well, the next thing you know, you see bars on the place. You think you're gonna have trouble convincing a judge that they're fortifying the place? No. Okay, so, you know,
Councillor Knott?
For yourself, Reeve, so I guess the main thrust of this bylaw isn't so much prevention, then what it is remediation. In the event that we find that people have done things, this gives us a method of removing.
either done or doing it.
Okay, so not so much prevent, but it's,
I
kind of got the thrust now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I can't say any law we can prevent people from doing it because I keep very busy, so.
Councillor?
So I just let me ask a question. If this bylaw doesn't exist,
Doesn't
what
exist.
does not exist, what do we do today? Because it doesn't exist today. If we have an issue today,
We have no power of entries till afterwards, okay? This gives us power of entry if we catch it before it gets to the point where, you know, the people are charged and busted and we gain entry through, you know, the OPP or somebody coming on and saying, hey, you know, this place was just taken down, this is what was going on there. That gives me, as a building official, the reason to suspect the place may be unsafe, okay? So now I can go in and inspect as I have the right of entry, okay? Okay, this gives me right of entry before you get to that point.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay, thanks very much, Chris.
This is for first and second reading. All in favor? Carried. Okay, moving to third reading and finally pass. Deputy Reeve Campbell, Councillor Vladden. All in favor? Carried.